Dwayne contacted me and said, hey, listen, we're going to move forward. And so that was like the end of the summer 2019, and then going into the
COVID.
fall.
Yeah,
the whole world fell apart. And I told Fran this. I go, I am shelving this. I'm not giving it one thought. I'm not giving it one feeling because I have no control over it, right? Finally get a text, you available, and we get on the phone and we talk for, we're on the phone for an hour plus. Pre-production was already in the works. They were scouting for locations. They had a whole team. Like when Dwayne says, hey, things are going, he's got 150 people behind him working.
Yeah.
Like I would say, I just, looking back on it going, I know that I moved the sport this much, but you needed that much to get to where it is now. I told Dwayne, I go, I didn't know I needed this.
That's awesome.
I didn't know. And he goes, you deserve it.
Yeah.
And Dwayne's crying and I'm going like looking at him going, he's just saying to me, he goes, this isn't normal. Really? And then saying to me, and like Emily saying to me going, I've never experienced this before. And in that moment, just having this feeling of like, if it's not normal for them and this is their world, then this has got to be something that's just incredibly special.
It was an interesting scene. You go in after the fight and you referenced you couldn't move. And it was a pretty emotional scene. Like, okay, like either the weight of the world's still on you or you felt like I've gotten to some point. And I wanted to have you describe what was in your head at that moment.
Oh, man.
Multifamily Forward coming back with you. We're taking a little bit of a curve here. Dustin Lacey, John Carlson, and I are so privileged and honored to have Mark, the Smashing Machine Kerr, sitting on the couch with us. Mark, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I really appreciate you having me.
Rogan to Multifamily Forward.
It's basically the same Good Morning America, then Rogan.
Pull a hamstring. It's such a big step down.
Let's throw in Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And then Multifamily Forward.
This is the cool part, though. These are my people.
There we go, buddy.
There you go.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. When we originally started talking about having you come on, well, first again, thank you for taking the time because you've got to be on the ride of your life, to say the least, right?
It's been intense. It's been really intense, and it's one of those. Everybody around me has just been like, "Hey, listen. The one thing from this experience, just be where your feet are. Just be where your feet are. It's like if you get lost, just think like, okay, where are my feet? Because you can get too far in front, too far behind, and it's just one of those things where it's like, give me that. How long?
Really?
How long? Yeah. Because he said when he went through his Hall of Fame and all that stuff, he just absolutely didn't enjoy it because it was like trying to get tickets for this person and that person and it just wasn't the enjoyable thing that he could have enjoyed as much because he just wasn't present to the moment.
You before you even walked in, when I saw you at the front desk, and of course we were just kind of chatting it up, talking about everything.
Yeah,
just hold this whole ride, and of course this has been a long time coming for you, right? We'll talk a little bit about that, but first let me say to our listeners. For those of you that don't know Mark Kerr, first get up from whatever rock that you're behind, right? Just had a premiere of his life, a short, several years of your life. UFC, MMA, Pride as well. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is playing Mark, and then of course Emily Blunt is playing your ex-wife. We saw it. We all saw it. Just absolutely amazing, man. Congratulations.
Oh, my gosh, man. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I got to mention this because Dustin and I went together at the premiere last week, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the theater. I haven't been to a theater in ages. Don't ask me why, but I haven't been at the movie. And so I'm so glad that the first time I'm back, I'm going to see you.
Oh, my gosh.
Right?
So am I. Yeah.
The end of the movie. Everything was fantastic, of course. We're on the edge of our seat because we were such huge fans. We remember your original fights going back to that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that got me was you in the grocery store. You're talking to yourself, right?
That's awesome.
You're talking to yourself. I do that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then to see you and say, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
You get in your truck, you pull away.
Yeah.
Please tell me that was Francie.
It was.
The cameo going across.
It was.
I screamed
I
to
told my wife right
Dustin.
away. That's Francie. Yeah.
I screamed at Dustin. I was like, that was
It's
Francie.
undeniable, right?
Oh,
so
my God.
Here's what's crazy. She doesn't realize. So she's like, I got to go to the bathroom. So she's wandering off. She goes into the grocery store, which is kind of locked down this certain area for shooting.
Yeah.
She goes to the bathroom, just not even thinking about, like, just casually walking in front.
That wasn't planned?
No. No.
That's cool.
Benny Safdie, who wrote and directed it.
Sure, of course.
Benny saw it and he's like, I'm keeping that in.
Yeah.
You know, just the best coincidence
Yeah.
in the
A
world.
little Easter
Yeah.
egg.
Yeah, like I told Fran, I got you in the movie. You know?
That's awesome.
Man,
That's
it's
great.
crazy. That was so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to geek out just a little bit real quick. So,
Yeah.
Mark, you walked into the office, and of course, first off, again, just the whirlwind that you've been on, just the travel overseas from one side of the country to the next. You walked in, and my sister, who works for Mark Taylor, comes walking down the stairs, and I got so excited. I wanted to introduce you to her, right? So I start telling this story because Tina was always over. My ex-wife and I, huge fans of yours, as well as UFC and MMA. And I told the story. I said, do you remember me screaming at you when you walked in, knowing that you had no idea who Mark was or is? And I told you about how you submitted someone with your chin
To their eye.
in your eyeball, and then
your
you turned to
sister
me and
remembered
you,
it.
and then my Tina remembered. Oh my God, I do remember you freaking out about that.
I don't remember his name, but I remember you telling me
my
about
God,
that.
man.
Which is-
It was unreal.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
unreal.
And it's one where just understanding that's the very beginning of my career. Like you watching that, seeing that at the beginning, that's
Yeah.
like the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and this film encapsulates, I call it a pocket of time. You know, it's just a 3-year part of my career.
97
What a
to
pocket, man.
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
97 was UFC 14.
Yep.
That was what. So you actually, I thought UFC was post Pride, but Pride was actually after UFC.
It was.
You were
It
UFC
was.
14 and 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those. The UFC at that time, it was just getting really, like, the last 2 events I did were in the South.
Yeah.
And one was in Alabama and the other one was in Mississippi. And this is no joke. It was in a parking lot of a casino.
No way.
And it was a tent that was, you know, like a circus tent. And it was popped up in the parking lot, and it was like stakes in the ground to hold it up, and that's the venue. So that's where the UFC was going. And then I go over to Japan, and it's sold out arenas.
National sport.
Oh my God, it's a completely different appreciation, understanding of what fighting is, what a fighter is. They have certain reverence towards it.
Quieter crowd though.
Oh my God,
Wouldn't
much
it be-
quieter,
wouldn't it be
spooky,
Was that
spooky.
How hard was the pre-fight? Like just to lead up that hour before when you know that you're about to go in.
You know what? It's you know, for me, as I went through that process, it's one of those where it just becomes this narrowing of everything around me. Like it's a couple days before that you start like kind of tuning out to everything around you. And then that day, like in the morning, I'd have like a little window that I could eat before all of a sudden my body goes, we don't need digestion. We just, we're getting ready to do this. And so anything I put in my stomach, it would want to come up because it was like, my body was like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
And
you've been in combat sports. You were a wrestler at Syracuse and all.
Yeah.
Weren't you a national champion?
I was a national
Division
champion.
I.
Yeah, 92.
And you were an Abu Dhabi champion too.
Oh my God. I won Abu Dhabi 4 times actually.
Did you wrestle Coleman in college? Was that ever a
Yeah,
head to
I
head?
did, man.
Did you beat him?
So, no, that's the one thing. I beat him in the video game in New York, though. They had a marketing pop-up, and they had these video games, and I go, Cole, come on.
Yeah.
And he sits down, and we go at it, and I knocked him out, and I go, that's it. I go, I'm going to have to actually sign a release on this that we never fight again.
Yes.
Because it's on, I got it on film.
love
Just the end of it, and I go, okay, that settles that. If we would have fought each other, it's just the proof.
Where was he in college?
Ohio State. He went.
he was at Ohio State.
So I wrestled him his senior year, 1988, my freshman year in the Nationals. He was seeded number 1. I was unseeded, and we wrestled first round, first match.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
He went on to win a national title that year. And it took me, till my senior year to win a national title. But it's just one of those where in that little corner of Ohio, Northwest Ohio, Mark Coleman, myself, and Kevin Randleman
You guys
came
knew
out of
each
that.
other.
All of us. Like before I went and won my NCAA championship, I warmed up like to get ready to wrestle with Kevin Randleman.
Did you really?
that's
Yeah,
cool.
Kevin Randleman was
That's
a
cool.
sophomore. He had lost in the NCAA finals his freshman year, and his sophomore year, he won. His junior year, he won, and then he didn't compete. His senior year, he got kicked out of Ohio State.
Did he really?
Yeah, he would have been a rare 4-time finalist and 3-time NCAA champ. He was incredible.
He was incredible.
Oh, he was.
Did you come from a wrestling family?
No.
How did you?
So, I have an older brother who's 12 years older than me, and he wrestled. And that was kind of the antithesis of like that little bit of thing. And I ended up living with him for a period of time. And in that period of time, it was just like, I was just out of control as a teenager. And so my mom couldn't control me. My brother, he could just say, listen, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to just beat your ass.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Oh,
Right?
real simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feared him enough to go, oh, that's real.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I better
Yeah.
listen.
Does your
Yeah.
brother live in Arizona now too?
So
or no?
no. So my brother still lives in Northwest Ohio.
Oh, does he?
Yep.
Near Toledo?
Toledo. Yep.
Yeah.
He lives in a little town called Maumee, and so I ended up wrestling, and that's the start of it. That's a little like, this is all you're gonna do is play sports year round.
Yeah. Keep you active.
Keep me active, keep me out of trouble. And that was the start of formulating, like, hey, I can do this. I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, I didn't understand it at the time, but I was dyslexic.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand like why I didn't want to compete in a classroom. But the second that I got on a field, athletic field, wrestling
Came
mat,
naturally.
came naturally, and I had control of that. Like
That
in the
makes sense.
classroom, I didn't have any control.
That makes sense.
I didn't have any control of it. So like, I'm like, I can't control, when they call on me in class and I don't know the answer or read out loud. It's like, it was just this, like, I'm done with this, but get me on a wrestling mat. I go, I can control that. I can, yeah. And I didn't know I was dyslexic until my sophomore, junior year in college.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's mild dyslexia, but it's just one where it's just like I really couldn't read proficiently until, literally until I was almost out of college.
You knew you had the competitiveness in you, though, right?
Yeah.
It's going to come out
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely.
How
Yeah.
did you pick
That's great, man.
Syracuse?
That was one of those. I thought I was going to go to Ohio State. I thought I was going to go to, I went down a recruiting trip and all that stuff. And the assistant wrestling coach just happened to come speak at my high school, like a leadership group at my high school. A guy named Gene Mills. And I had just won a state championship at my high school in Ohio. And he's like, hey, come to my summer camp. I was like, okay. I go to a summer camp in between my junior and senior in college or in high school. And he sees me wrestle. He's like, oh boy, like we're going to start recruiting. And in Ohio, if you don't repeat like multiple state championship, you don't go to Ohio State. You don't go to Iowa. You don't get a scholarship.
Isn't that
You can
crazy?
Oklahoma State,
You,
the big
you can
one.
walk on.
Multiple.
You can walk on the team.
Right.
But
And you're a one-time state champion.
Yeah.
You can walk on.
yeah.
That's insane.
I mean,
That's how
That's
competitive
insane.
it is.
It is.
Wow.
It is. I mean, it's to a level where now it's even more because wrestling has more prominence than it's ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people, you want to know how far wrestling's come? ESPN carries it prime time, the NCAA championships, prime time Saturday and Friday.
Yeah.
And it's not on Ocho 8.
Right.
It's
not ping pong.
It's on
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on ESPN prime time.
Right.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
that's and it's just this whole shift, and it's all because of mixed martial arts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really it's like it's finally getting its due.
Yeah.
Finally getting. Its
I grew up, my best friend when I was growing up, when I was in elementary school, it's the George family, huge wrestling family. Father was a coach at high school. All three of his brothers were wrestlers, and of course he was a wrestler. I was never a wrestler, but he used to we'd have sleepovers,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years old, right?
Yeah.
And he would always do like when we'd stay up all night, wake up early in the morning, and his first thing to wake me up was crossface, neck wrench, crossface, right? And that was the one thing that would wake me up in the morning. So that was my introduction to wrestling. Yeah.
Different breed of guys.
Before
Yeah,
we dive
right.
in a little further, Mark,
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
mention, because you guys have done, you and your amazing wife, Francie,
Yep.
Absolute Wellness.
Yep.
Just thank you for everything, the partnering, just making our clients just so happy with what you provide.
Oh, thank you.
Want to say thank you very much.
No, it's been a huge thing, and John's been a big part of it. Fran and John have. I mean, it's been this. It's a small community, even though it's
Yeah.
but it's a small community, And I know that Fran is aligned with John and John's philosophy and thinking for a long time, and what he's wanted to do from a leadership standpoint, and then implementing it through his whole entire communities and everything like that. I mean, wellness is such a hard thing to define, because it means something different to you, to you, and to you.
Yeah.
But you can define like spaces of like what it feels like to be in this space, right? What it feels like to have, these amenities or these, facilities where you're able to go, hey, listen, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this. And so there's a lot of
Thoughtful
things
design,
in there.
man. Beautiful stuff,
It really
man.
It really is. And a lot of that is what I was saying earlier, is the curve of the earth, being able to see like how important this is, because it binds people to a community.
Yeah.
When you have that like, shared environment of like everybody kind of on the same page. It really is. It's really a unique thing. It's like shared experiences.
Yeah.
Like with my family through this whole process, it's just created another layer of closeness and bonding, because it's an experience, right?
Good.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. You mentioned John. Fran kind of pulled you in to multifamily.
She did,
which is our industry. And John's been a big proponent internally here at Mark Taylor, about this, work-life kind of balance, and this notion of, pouring into yourself and taking care of yourself, and what that means in terms of being, a better father, better husband, better peer, better colleague, and all these different things. And, we're in year 5 of MT Fit, and this mindset that kind of drives what you guys do for your business post-COVID, when we talked about folks returning, really, assessing what does my living space look like when we were all forced to kind of like sequester at home. And for those of us that, lived in communities like a Mark Taylor community, having a good answer there has been very helpful for us and very important for us from a leadership standpoint. So you guys at Absolute Wellness service the multifamily industry, as well as more a broader, the kind of the development community and personal. I'm sure there's high net worth folks that you guys also help. But when people ask, what is Mark Kerr doing today?
Yeah.
This is part of the story.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's a perfect fit for, a lot of what the Smash Machine goes over is just a lot of really tumultuous times and everything. And
Perseverance.
It is. I mean, it's just where I am now is I call it a story of redemption, right? And part of that redemption is getting a complete understanding of like me, and that's my health. But my health is also like my financial health, my mental health,
of course.
right? My environment,
Your emotional health.
my emotional health, right? It's all of these things that at one point just went unchecked.
Yeah.
And it really is one where it's like, once I started going, okay, I'm going to try to get back on top of my health, meaning I'm going to get to the gym and make a commitment to do this. Once I get that little bit of notch, I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I forget how good this feels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I forget like the difference between that little boost it gives me or laying in this, just this, malaise of like, just not a good space.
Yeah.
Well, can I touch on that for a second?
Yeah,
So
sure.
when I think about the movie, and lots of favorite parts, but I go back to, and this is something that triggered me from a positive feeling. And I say this often in new hire, like I wish I would have known in my 20s to just make sure I surround myself with people that actually want to lift me up and really care about John Carlson.
Yeah.
And they're not there for other reasons, right? It's genuine, it's authentic. There's a reason they're trying to create a positive energy for me, because I do the same thing for them.
Yeah.
And I think back to the scene where you're in the hospital, you're crying in bed, and Coleman's right there. He's like, "Man, I'm here because I love you."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, man, that was an element of being there at maybe your bottom. I don't know where your bottom was, but it was certainly a tough time for you, right?
Brutal,
Not knowing
brutal.
what was going to be next.
Yeah.
And he was right there. I'm on the next flight.
Yeah.
His kids crying in the background, and he's like, "I'll be right there."
Yep.
Yeah.
And part of that whole, like my whole understanding now is what I was really after the whole time was connection, but it's human connection, right? It's like, because it's like, I can connect to you as another human being because we share ideas and we share, common beliefs and stuff. And it's just one where it's like that connection is just so important. And through coming out of the pandemic and when you're isolated alone by yourself, that kind of thing, it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
It's really not healthy.
Like, don't you think at this point, like in your life, because you've essentially rewired yourself into the state where you look for things that are unique in terms of that energy source. In my opinion, like, okay, we're kind of tuned together. I know you talked about on Rogan, you talked about the Nichiren Buddhism with Francie, but kind of tuning that energy. And I feel like today I'm really good at sniffing out guys that aren't going to benefit me or
aren't going to be good for you.
Like, I'm gonna kind of stay away from this one. I'm going to do a lot more due diligence in terms of those relationships because it is really about that. You want to stay in that frequency of people that support you.
You do, and you said it. I mean, it's one of those where, if I could look back on my younger self, it'd be the thing that I would really communicate is just that, having those people around. Because this is going to be a little self-indulgent, but I was inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame, and part of that speech that I gave was that, like, at moments in time, the person that believes in you when you're down at your worst. That's the lifeline, that little bit of belief, right?
See something in you that maybe you don't even see.
Yeah. And it's just this amazing thing that I look back and I go, wow, that's what got me up off my ass and got me back going was somebody's belief in me that I could be better than who I was being or where I was going or what I was doing. Yeah. And it's this idea, like, Boss Root was one of them. Through this whole process, awesome. He's incredible. It's a whole other side tangent.
Sorry, again, you're touching my heart right now. Keep going.
So that belief, like you run an organization, it's like it is powerful when you look at somebody and you go, I believe in you, right? I know you can do this. Here's how I'm going to support you. Here's what I'm going to do. And it's a hand up, right? It's not a handout, right?
That's right.
It's that whole idea behind, like, let me give you what you need, right? Right at this moment. And sometimes it's just that little word of encouragement or that little bit of advice, because I can feel it when somebody's looking at me, and you can feel when somebody's disingenuous.
Sure. No,
it's like it's self-evident. It's
right.
like, oh, like I'm full of shit. It's like, but you feel that, and it's the whole part of like when people get to this place, they understand how important it is, man, all the way across the board. Yeah, because it's like I've looked at myself and go, like, what am I doing? Yeah, like, what am I doing? Like, where? Yeah, so it's important. It's important.
Can we let's expand on that, because when you started this ride about your biography, well, you already had the documentary, right? How long of a process was this? And did you put yourself in those, not place yourself in those same positions, but is this really happening? Like the doubt piece?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, part of it when all this came together was 2019.
That long ago.
Yeah. So 2019, and it was one where, Dwayne contacted me. Yeah. And said, hey, listen, we're going to move forward. And so that was like the end of the summer 2019, and then going into the
COVID.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole world fell apart.
Unreal, man.
And so literally it's like, hey, we're moving forward with it. And I told Fran this. I go, I am shelving this. I'm not giving it one thought. I'm not giving it one feeling.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just putting it out. I'm leaving it alone.
And what happens.
Because I have no control over it, right?
Yeah. Now I got you.
Like if I'm sitting in a place where I'm like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? So I tell people, I go, I had Dwayne's cell phone for 4 years. I didn't call it. I didn't text him.
Wow.
I didn't reach out to him because it wouldn't affect anything. And so I just let it go. I said, I need to just do what I'm going to do, live my life. I'm just moving forward.
Yeah.
And if it happens, oh my God, great. And so it just this whole, it's all crazy, like energy and frequency and picking up on stuff. So Fran at points would hound me and go like, you need to call him. You need to call him. I'm going, oh my God, I can't call him. So finally in 2023, in the fall, she had said, you should probably reach out to Brad, which is Dwayne's agent from William Morris. And I go, you're probably right. And so I call his office, and literally he goes, oh my God, your ears must be ringing.
Fran's connected to the universe. We know this.
Oh my God, she's for sure she is,
She is.
100%. So it's one where I wanted to, like I told her, I go, I'm going to take credit for that. so I get out, and Brad's like, your ears, and this is what's crazy. He goes, I can't tell you, and I'm like, okay, you can't tell me. He goes, it has to come from Dwayne, and I'm like.
Cool.
I'm like, okay, so it's like a Thursday, and Brad goes, he'll call you over the weekend. So I get a call, I get a text from Dwayne the next day. Hey, I'll call you over the weekend. And the whole weekend goes by, I don't get a call, and so it's like into the next week, and then at the end of that week, I get another text. Hey, I'll call you over the weekend. Now it's like 9 days, right? 8 days, and I'm like, holy crap. And it's like Saturday, and then like Sunday, and then finally I get a text, you available, and we get on the phone, and we talk for, we're on the phone for an hour plus. Yeah. And it's this whole thing of like, hey, listen, and I didn't understand it at the time. Like pre-production was already in the works. They were scouting for locations. They had a whole team. Like when Dwayne says, hey, things are going, he's got 150 people behind him working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's his production company.
Yeah, it's
isn't
his $7.
Wow. $7.
And the crazy part is literally he had $7 in his bank account.
That's why he named it $7.
$7.
See, he's been
That's
through his
crazy.
own.
Oh my God. He
That's
was
crazy.
He talks about it, and he says, like, at that moment, you either make a decision or you just give into the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're looking at your bank account, he's married, he's got a daughter.
Yeah.
Right? He hadn't become The Rock yet.
No.
And so he's been on the road. You would travel 300 plus days out of the year.
Brutal.
He was making 150 grand a year.
Beating his body up.
Oh, you can do the math. It's like, okay, you're making $800 a day or 700 or 600. It's like, that doesn't pencil out.
No.
Plus you're paying for some of your travel and lodging and food on the road and all this stuff. So he was like, you at that moment in time, it's a decision, completely a decision of like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Am I gonna dig in, double down that I can do this, or am I just gonna fold and go, okay, I'm gonna get a job at McDonald's?
Yeah, when you're drowning, you either swim
or drown.
yeah.
Especially when you have a family.
It's real, and you know what? And it's
That's some pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, and it's one of those things where everybody has some kind of constitution in them to do better than what they think they can do. It's just the belief that they can do it.
Taking that first step along with it.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Always a level of imposter syndrome, right? That
Yeah.
that
Oh my God.
fictitious ceiling that
Man,
you
you
Yeah,
I
and my
talk about
life
that
talks
all the
about
time.
it all the time. It's just like,
Yeah.
even through this whole process, and Dwayne would have to remind me again and again and again, this is about you. This is about your life. This is about the things
Hard
you
to hear
did.
though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
knowing your demeanor. Like, I didn't know you personally when you were, in the
Yeah,
90s
yeah.
and through the early 2000s. But you would pre and post interviews. You were the nicest freaking guy ever, man. And you're
Yeah.
in there just
Midwestern boy.
beating
Yeah.
the living, you know what,
Midwestern.
right? To watch
Born and
you be
raised, yeah.
interviewed by Rogan in the early UFC days.
Yeah.
And you're coming off out of the octagon.
Yeah.
You're panting like crazy. I mean, you literally
Yeah.
just got into a fight, right?
Yeah.
How are you so nice?
Oh man.
Just you were calm, cool, and collected,
you
brother.
know, so the crazy, like I tell like the story I've told about this, like realizing like at one moment in time, I didn't know the answer, whether or not, like if somebody said, hey, I'm going to put you and you in a room,
Yeah.
and only one of you could come out. Like I didn't know the answer to that question at one point. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like what would I be willing to do, or what I'm capable of doing?
Yeah.
And then through fighting, it's obvious you answer that question. It's like, I know what I'm capable of.
Only one option.
Yeah.
Who
I-
pulled you in? Was it random then, or was it Coleman?
So Coleman, just so in '96, it was like one of those years where it's like a really bad year. So like in 1996 in January, I wrestled for Team Foxcatcher, and Team Foxcatcher, my head coach was a guy named Dave Schultz. Dave Schultz was murdered by John DuPont.
Yeah, there's a movie about that.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm in Russia wrestling.
Wow.
And they pull us out of our rooms, like it's like 2-3 in the morning or whatever it was, and they said we got some terrible news, and we're in the lobby of the floor of the hotel, and they're like, Dave Schultz was murdered by John DuPont, and it was like this, holy shit, you know. And then he goes, hey, if you don't want to wrestle tomorrow, you don't have to wrestle. It's just, I mean, it hit a lot of us, like you know, like I started getting coached by Dave in 1993. 92 was the first time I went down to Foxcatcher, but so that was January. And then later that, it was still early that year, my mom gets diagnosed with terminal cancer. And then I'm injured trying to go into the Olympic trials.
Damn.
I go through the Olympic trials. I don't make the Olympic team. End of that summer, we watch Kurt Angle, who I competed against, win the Olympic gold medal in Atlanta. Me and my mom sitting on the couch, right? And then we try to get a hold of him. And this, I'll have to share with you guys at some point this letter that Kurt wrote, and it arrived 2 days after my mom died. My mom died September 3rd, and the letter got there September 5th. And he wrote this unbelievable letter. Yeah. Unbelievable. Like,
also a star in his own right.
Oh,
Went on
my
to become
God,
a big
phenomenal.
He was a champion too.
Phenomenal. Unbelievable. So respected in that community.
What a good guy.
Unbelievable.
Really?
Like we competed against each other. So I wrestled against him in 92, 93, 94, which I beat him all those years.
Yeah.
And then I think our record against each other is still 4-4. He's got 4 wins, I got 4 wins. So it's one of those things where we competed against each other and we were biggest adversaries. And, you know, through that whole entire process, when that letter showed up, it was like this heartfelt, like, hey, Mrs. Kerr, I know this is like a really difficult time. Thank you for thinking of me.
No way.
You know, yeah. And he goes on to say, without your son in my way, I would have never got to the level. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, my God.
So he didn't know that your mom passed at that point?
At that point, he didn't know. He knew she had terminal cancer, knew she was sick. He went ahead and wrote the letter. Letter got there a couple days after my mom passed. But the letter meant more to me, to my brothers, to my family. Like, it's still, and now I've had an opportunity to talk to Kurt quite a bit over the last couple of years, which is like such a good dude.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Brings you right back to the same thing,
there's a
having
lot
those
of good
people.
dudes.
Oh, sorry, Dustin.
In MMA, there's a lot.
There's
of
a
good
ton.
dudes. Yeah.
There's a ton, and part of it, a lot of us that do that for a living, we don't. I go, why we're able to engage people like we do, because we don't have to carry our sword and shield.
Yeah.
Right. We don't, it's like, I go, well, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
You can just put it down and just I can be vulnerable. I could be all these other things.
Yeah.
And be okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, quite honestly, I think of the Mark Kerr I know. I think of you in the grocery store at the end. I don't think of you in the ring. I just
that's perfect, John.
I don't.
That is perfect.
Like, that's Mark.
Yeah,
it's true.
That's perfect.
That's the guy.
And it was brilliant when Benny told me he was going to do that. I go, oh, you're going to do what?
Oh, that was the best.
I go, you're going to do what? And I go, okay. I'm like, okay.
It was so great.
Oh my God, it was brilliant.
The little interaction with the clerk at the end, like all of it was great. And I mean, I knew you were on camera, but that was just like,
that wasn't acting. No, that's him.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you.
So Benny goes, just act like you're surprised to see the cameras, because set up there and that shot in IMAX, right? So there's these huge cameras.
big cameras.
Huge cameras. It's like 64 millimeter. Like and it's shot with real film. It's like this. So the cameras are ginormous, and so they're there, and there's like one way off in the distance that I say goodbye to, right?
Yeah.
But it's one where he goes, just act like you're surprised. So I'm mumbling myself, geez, I can't believe this is happening again. Like, oh my God. Like if you slow it down and listen to it, like I'm mumbling, and he keeps all of it in, because at points I forget I'm mic'd. Yeah. I totally forget I'm mic'd, and I'm like just walking. I'm like, oh, that's... Move the camera over there. And I'm just like mumbling to myself. Yeah. So even to the point where I go, Benny, here's where you ruin things. I'm gonna have to put every shopping cart back for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Because if people go, oh yeah, I put it back. That's good.
Yeah.
I love it. Like he did it in a way which is just
Was that Mount Lemon in the background? Were you
was
in
that New
Tucson?
Mexico or
New Mexico.
we were?
Oh
we
my
were
gosh,
wrong.
we thought that was Tucson. We thought it was like, no, that's Mount Lemmon in the
No,
background.
they have. Oh my God, man! So New Mexico, I didn't realize like it's at altitude.
Of course, yeah.
You know, like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Albuquerque's at altitude, and
Yeah.
then we went up in a trolley, and I don't know what mountain it's called, but it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
Well, you know, Dustin's from Tucson originally. That's why we were
should have known.
so excited.
Yeah.
It
You
looked
know,
just like Mount Lemmon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Truly,
Yeah.
I was like,
We got to go back to the 90s though. Like
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
movie, I know that you mentioned this on Rogan that you pulled out all of your whatever you could have,
Yeah.
like provide Benny
Yeah,
and team,
yeah.
right? But one of the funniest parts of the movie, in my opinion, like it's not a comedy, but there's moments. Dawn picks you up in her little convertible, and you're sitting, the Rock's sitting in the convertible, driving down the road. Like it just looks like he's in a little.
It looked like a Barbie car,
Oh
didn't
my
it?
God.
With the rock
Look,
sitting
you
in
must
it.
have looked just like that back in the day.
So here's what was crazy.
that the car?
So hang on, I'll correct this. So the Land Cruiser that DJ's driving,
Yeah.
right in the movie, I had that. That's identical, gray,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
The car they couldn't replace.
Land Cruiser fits you, yes.
It does. Land Cruiser was. I'm a Toyota guy, so the car they couldn't find one. I bought an Acura NSX with T-top convertibles.
Nice.
And they literally go, they tried all these different brokers to try to get it. Cause I think it was so that was 97, 98, 90, that would have been 99. And so I think I had like bought a 94 or something like that. And it didn't have any power steering in it. Like going through a parking lot, it was such a cool car though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only like 200 something horsepower. They didn't have a bunch of horsepower, but no one knew what it was.
It was a slick car.
You'd pull up in the car and people go, "Is that a Ferrari?"
Yeah.
You know, like, no, it's an Acura.
Yeah.
They go, an Acura.
No idea. Yeah, no
Yeah,
idea.
no idea what it was, but that's the car. And they ask me, and they go, "Well, we're going to do this," and I go, "Okay." like my thing was too. It's like, how are you going to fit Dwayne in there?
Get in the car.
we noticed that.
We
too.
said the same thing.
It looked
We
like he
said
had
the same
shoulder
thing.
pads on.
We're,
Yeah.
we're literally giggling to each other.
His jaws over
in
the
the movie
Yeah,
theater.
yeah. Oh my
Catching
God.
bugs.
Bug catcher.
Oh my gosh.
So that was supposed to be Arizona. It was shot in New Mexico. How did you end up in Arizona from?
So
Ohio, then New York.
So
Yeah.
when I finished up at Syracuse, I was an assistant wrestling coach there for 3 years. So graduated in 92, assistant wrestling coach 93, 94, 95. There was an opportunity to move out here to Arizona to try. Like when you get to a certain level
Yeah.
of wrestling, there's only a couple people that can make you better.
That's right.
Like when you get to a certain level of like a position where you can mentor people, it's like you still need to be mentored. You still need to be fed. I tell people, I go, Tiger Woods had a coach.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan had a coach.
Yeah, but there's select few that can bring value.
Select
still.
few, exactly.
So they were here in Arizona.
So there was one guy here in Arizona, and I'm like, okay, if I have any hope to make the Olympic team, that's where I needed to go. And so Sunkissed Kids, a guy named Art Moturi, who founded that. He wrestled for ASU in the 60s.
Another good program.
Yeah. Yep. And so he said, come on out here. The sponsor was the Olympics were in Atlanta in 96.
Yep.
And so Home Depot was a sponsor of what's called OJOB, Olympic Job Opportunity. And so the last position available here at a Home Depot, because Home Depot is a big sponsor, was Home Depot on 44th Avenue in Camelback.
44th Avenue in Camelback.
Yeah. Yeah, the store's not there anymore because they rebuilt it a little bit further west. But I got a job there. I could work 20 hours and get paid for 40.
Nice.
That was the program.
Awesome.
And so we trained at North Phoenix Baptist Church.
No
And
kidding.
Yeah.
Off of Central?
Off of Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. They have a huge, like, I guess the guy that founded Shasta Pools donated a ton of, and so up there, it's not like you think like a church because it's got like a bunch of outdoor tennis courts, outdoor swimming. It's got indoor racquetball courts. It's got 2-3 basketball courts. It got roller skating ring in it. It's got, I mean, all this stuff. So we got wrestling mats and that was a place. And here's what's about Kismet, about things happening. So in the corner of that facility, there's a little karate studio.
No kidding.
And that karate studio had this instructor named Richard Hamilton. Richard Hamilton had helped Dan Severn get in the UFC.
No.
He had helped Don Fry get in the
No, I
UFC.
love them both.
He had
Best mustache
he had
ever.
helped
Two of my favorites.
Mark Coleman get in there.
No way.
And so he kept telling the wrestlers, all of us, hey, listen, if you don't make
strike.
yeah, if you don't make the Olympic team, you know, I mean, because he could see what we were.
That's awesome.
And so he was the guy that cornered me down in Brazil for my first fight.
No way.
Yeah.
A Phoenix boy.
Yeah.
And so you stayed.
So it's one of those where it's like I literally don't make the Olympic team. Like no way I'm going back to cold weather. No way.
Not after being here.
No, my gosh. Once here, I'm like, January, you wear a tank top and flip flops.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going. Yeah, done.
John had the same epiphany.
Never look back. Weddings and funerals. That's when I go back.
Northwest Ohio is still cold. Nothing like Minnesota, though.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That's another level. That's another
So
level.
let's run through this. Just recently, right? You're doing all the pre-movie things. You, Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt. You travel to Venice.
Yeah.
Overseas.
Yeah.
You then come back. You hit Good Morning America. Right.
Oh,
Jimmy Fallon.
First,
Please, because I don't know.
Toronto Film Festival.
Toronto Film
Oh, that was
Festival.
cool. I bet.
Yeah. Totally different vibe. Totally different vibe.
Really?
Yeah. There's a sense of Venice is a lot more formality.
Sure.
A lot more formality. The Venice Film Festival, I believe, is 82 years old. So it's one of the oldest film festivals, if not the oldest film festival in Europe.
13 and a half minute standing ovation.
No. 15
and a half minutes.
Come on.
Get it right,
He's not a math
Brett.
guy.
So what are you
Get there.
doing the whole 50? Are you just standing there,
Crying.
Standing there, I started crying right off the bat.
How could you not?
Really? That's awesome.
Because part of what was really incredible about it. So Benny Safdie, who wrote and directed, is sitting to my right, and then DJ's sitting to my left, and then Emily's sitting next to him.
Yeah.
And the way they position us in the theater is you're like right in the center. Like there's nobody in front of you.
Yeah.
It's like these stairs that come up, and then our seats are right there where the stairs where the stairs end.
Sure.
And then the theater's just all around us. There's people behind us, and so when we get to that real intense end scene of the fight, and for whatever reason, it just hit me in that environment like it didn't before. Like I had seen it before, and it didn't have the impact it didn't. I called it therapy.
Sure.
Like literally, like seeing that intensity and seeing what went on, it was like this moment of like, oh man, I was such an ass. Like I was just so hard on everybody around me, and it was like that endeavor is very selfish to begin with, right? Like I want to be a world champion, but under like trying to get everyone around me to understand, like, hey, listen, I'm trying to raise you up too.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I can get to here, it's a whole new level for everybody around
Lifts
me.
us all.
Right? And sometimes the method just because it was a huge cost because I didn't understand how to bring everybody up in a way that supported them.
Yeah.
You know, at the time it was like,
Well, you're still
all right,
young, too.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
I'm
early.
20, 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't understand, like, there's ways to go about it. In understanding, like, gosh, man, I like looking back on it going, wow, if I had found a different way to do it, it would have created this environment, which was just a lot more productive. Right.
Sure.
And so this selfish like endeavor. And so at that moment in Venice, it's like this feeling of like, I see that scene. Benny feels what's going on with me. DJ feels what's going on. And Benny's like, is just patting my leg.
Are we referencing when you turn both showers on and you
Right,
turn
no, the big
the
fight.
Okay.
The big fight. Yeah.
Because I want a question. I have a
Yeah,
question about that too. I'm trying to figure out what you were thinking in that moment.
Oh man. Yeah, we'll
Okay,
get there.
okay.
So I hold Benny's hand literally for like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
No way.
Yeah, because I'm just like he feels what's going on with me. He understands it.
Yeah.
You know, and then Dwayne, we stand up, lights come on, and again, this is one of these things which is brilliant. So when it says, you know, like mixed martial artists today, you know, make millions of dollars,
Millions, yeah.
and then it like pause, like the type pause in his name.
Is Mark Kerr.
is Mark Kerr. The whole crowd goes crazy.
Oh, that's cool.
I start crying immediately because it's like it's just this emotional punch.
You and I almost embraced
Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It got weird.
Yeah,
For a
it just
second.
was this really powerful moment of you know, like I would say, you know, I just looking back on it, going, I know that I moved the sport this much, but you needed that much to get to where it is now, and realizing like through this whole process, I didn't know that I needed any of this.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I wanted it.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that there's still a little hole in me.
Yeah.
That I didn't know nothing else was going to fill it in.
And this was cathartic.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Very. And I mean, like the Hall of Fame started it, and that was like, I told Dwayne, I go, I didn't know I needed this. I
That's awesome.
didn't know. And he goes, you deserve it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah,
You know,
man.
you deserve it. And so in Venice, it was this just overwhelming feeling. And I kept like with Dwayne's crying, and I'm going like looking at him going, he's just saying to me, he goes, this isn't normal. Like, this isn't normal.
No way.
And then saying to me, and like Emily saying to me, going, I've never experienced this before. Like saying it, just whispering it to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, in that moment, just having this feeling of like, if it's not normal for them, and this is their world,
Yeah.
then this has got to be something that's just incredibly special.
Yeah.
And so afterward,
moment.
yeah, it was incredible.
Quick side note, I'm sure
Yeah.
Benny's great, but I would have sat next to Emily.
Just the guy. Dwayne and I probably would have had to fight for that one. She's exceptional.
Yeah.
She's
Absolutely.
exceptional.
You got to ask your question. I want to. Yes, that's perfect.
Oh, it's just a segue. And so my wife and I were discussing the movie after, and I said, well, it was an interesting scene. It
was.
I don't think I'm going to give it away, so everyone's
Yeah.
going to see it. But you know, you go in after the fight, and you referenced you couldn't move in the
Yeah.
fight, right?
Yeah.
You hit the wall, and you know, of course, Coleman was there, supporter, Mr. Bader, obviously, but
Yeah.
Coleman was
Yeah.
there in real life. You turned both showers on.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a pretty emotional. I'm like, okay, like either the weight of the world's still on you, or you felt like I've gotten to some point, and I wanted to have you describe what was in your head at that moment.
Oh man, you know, it was almost relief. It was a sense of relief
Because he smiled, like subtly smiled.
because back then there was such an emphasis on being undefeated. You know, it was like undefeated, and part of that myth still surrounding mixed martial arts, like, was what the Gracies brought to the table, because Hickson, which is Hoyce's older brother, had said, I'm 400-0. And we would joke and go, did you count like your elementary school fights too?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Like, yeah, I was toughest in elementary school. You know, I beat up because it was one where it's like he was propagating this thing where it's like I was undefeated, never lost. So there was this unrealistic standard of like, because if you attempt to do this, you're gonna lose.
Eventually.
It's just part of it.
Yeah.
It just is part of it. There's no getting around it.
Can't be perfect every
You
day,
can't.
every minute. There's
and
no way.
They're in the delusion that you can is toxic.
Yeah.
It really is, because it's just like living life. You're gonna face plant. Just you're going to.
Yeah.
The beauty of saying that is that in that moment that you feel like you absolutely just shit the bed, face plant, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
When you get up and you get after it again, that's the guy I want to talk to,
Yeah.
right? That's the guy going, where did you find the constitution to do that? Where did you find the willpower to get up, even though you just train wrecked, right? Like, I get it. The guy that won everything, he's got a story too,
Yeah.
right? But that's because I've experienced that before. Like somewhere in me, I needed to find like another gear,
Yeah.
another.
And that was a catalyst.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's a big burden to be
oh my
undefeated.
gosh, man, it's a burden. At that moment, John, it's just like, okay, now I can just proceed with like trying to figure out how to be the best I can, regardless. Because here's where it gets: get into the action, get out of the results. Right? The action is just doing, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm just going to try my absolute best to make it favorable to my outcome. I can't control the outcome. I could just put the action in. I can just put the effort in. I can do that. And if I do that at my highest level, I'm probably going to succeed, but there's no guarantee in it.
No.
There's none.
No.
You can maximize effort, right?
Yeah.
And impact. And I mean, I think back to the scene when you say that. I think back to when Dawn's making you a shake and she makes it incorrectly, right?
Yeah.
Wrong bananas and
Wrong
You were
milk.
so you were so laser focused on being the best you could be, and I can't imagine how much the
Precision
laser
that went
the
into it,
precise,
man,
right?
yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
discounting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you lost a fight, like,
Yeah.
and I felt like Benny captured that really well, and of course, the two
Yeah.
actors,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Dwayne and Emily did it so well. But man, you were just like, no, it has to be this.
Yeah.
Like I can't get to maximum unless I do it exactly this way.
Yeah. There's I call it living with intent, right? Like everything I was doing was intentional. There wasn't anything like, I'm going to kind of do this today. It's
You're
like,
all in.
no. Oh, you're all in. Like I literally still wish I had all my training logs, like literally meticulously writing stuff out and down.
That was
and-
you. You were the
Please,
one.
please. So that was a
Yeah.
question in one of my many notes. So take us through one day of training, like when you're just
Oh
like,
man, hitting on
Yeah, and
all,
fight
all
just
gears. So this would this would be up early because part of what happens when you get through a really, really tough training camp is getting the right amount of nutrition in.
Yeah.
And so
So you could
You
recover.
mean like a little bit of recovery
because
mixed in?
because you burn so many calories
Oh,
during
okay.
the day.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, if I'm not eating enough, I'm in caloric deficit, right?
Yeah.
And then and part of like that, me not being able to move with a Vegeta fight is I was not taking enough calories in for a long enough period of time where most people understand the way that Grand Prix was. It was one 15-minute round.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's so tough.
Yeah.
that's remarkable.
One.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 5-minute rounds. It was,
a
and that
minute
was
break.
That was Hoist Gracie's. Like the only way I'm doing this,
It's insane.
And so literally, I had. I'll get to this, John. Literally, I had the CEO of Dream Stage of Cape of Pride saying to me, "You need to help me convince everybody that this is a good idea." And so Hoist said the only way he's going to participate in it is if it's 15-minute rounds.
Wow.
And everybody was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" Like,
How do you last 15
Like-
minutes with
oh my god! I kept trying to tell Saki Kabara that it's diminished product. Like,
Yeah.
you can only like you're gonna see just first 5 minutes, and then it's gonna be this just diminished down
there's
to
no way
Battle of attrition.
yeah. And that's what Hoist wanted it.
He did.
He wanted an absolute battle of
Your
attrition.
mass at that
Oh
time.
my gosh! It was.
Like you must have been burning calories.
Oh, it was really hard. So I convinced everybody. So in that Vegeta fight, that's just caloric. So to get back, it's like an average day for me would be, I'd get up at 6, and so I would have my first meal immediately when I get up, and it would either be I call them hard or soft meals, right? So soft meal is a protein shake, right? Hard meal is eating like chicken, eggs or whatever I'm gonna eat. So I'd have to get that first in. And then because my first workout was at 8. So it's getting up at 6, and then I have a little routine in the morning I'm gonna do. And if I wanted to just kind of lazily, get on the computer, send this out, 8 o'clock, before I went and worked out, I would eat again. I would go
Twice before 8.
twice before 8. And then I would have my workout and then eat again, right? And then I had usually another scheduled workout. It was first thing in early afternoon, so it'd be like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock workout, because I wanted to. For me, I had to leave enough space at the end of the day that if I missed something in those workouts, that I'd get at the end of the day. And so I would eat again, work out somewhere in between there. If I could nap. And then in the afternoon, I had pocket where I could do errands and do things I needed to do if I had a doctor's appointment, whatever. Yeah. And then in the evening, it would be another workout. But it would be just everything based around eating. It'd be like get up, eat again, work out, eat after I worked out, eat again before I worked out again, work out, eat again. and then it'd be open space, and then it'd be usually in their nap, do this, do that, eat again. So I was getting like, I had to get anywhere from 7 soft meals, so 7 soft meals and 7 hard meals in a day.
Jeez.
How many calories? Daily?
On average, man, I could burn.
And you were at 260, right?
Yeah,
Ish?
I could burn 5,000 calories in a day. Whoa. I mean, so you would imagine just to
If you're at a caloric deficit, and I mean that's
you just
can't
never,
catch up.
You can't catch up. That was the whole thing. So mindful of getting to the end of like a 10-week training camp or 8-week training camp and going, I need to be viable. I need to be like a product that can get out there and get after it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it was so meticulous. And I look back on it going, wow, that was
regimented.
like, because there wasn't the internet like it is today. Like functional training, like nobody was doing. I was doing heart rate training back then.
Yeah.
Nobody, like me and Frank Shamrock, we would talk about heart rate training, and they'd go, yeah, I can do this. And it got to a point where I hired a trainer in California when I was out there. I moved out there for a couple of years, and he trained hockey players. And that recovery system of a hockey player was this burst, recover, burst, recover, burst, recover. So he modified it. And so it got me to a point where I could do a 1-hour circuit. And it's called active recovery. So I get like literally heart rate monitor on the whole night. I can get my heart rate up to 190, 195 beats a minute.
Wow.
And actively exercising, and I could recover 30 beats in a minute.
Quickly.
In a minute.
No kidding.
And then he'd run it up again, and I could recover, run it up. And that's just like bursting in a fight, recover, bursting in a fight, recover,
Yeah, it's
bursting in
mimicking
a
a
fight.
fight.
Yeah, all of that energy source.
Do you feel like that was an advantage for you?
Oh my gosh, man! We recently talked, and because I had made a comment going, well, I don't know if I could do championship rounds, 5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And he just goes, oh, if you trained with me, you would have been able to do it.
Really?
And I go, and I text him back and I go, TR, you're right.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Because that era, you had Don Fry and Tank Abbott.
Yeah.
And those guys were
Tank
notorious
Abbott.
for balancing like the work and the play. I assume, I don't want to make any.
No.
But you weren't somebody. I mean, you lived here. I'm assuming that house that they showed you, was that in Scottsdale?
It was in Chandler, just over the border. It was Ray and McClintock.
That's where you lived.
Yep.
But you weren't balancing this heavy social life when you were fighting. You were really regimented.
No, I was like for what I was trying to do at the time, and I understood. I was trying to be a professional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I looked at everything that was going on, and I looked at it and I go, man, it looks like they just went into a bar, scraped some guys off a bar stool, right? Threw them in an octagon, and out of that they had one guy that they go, he's probably the best. Let's make him and I go, no, I think there's a better narrative here, right? Yeah. So like when I went from the UFC over to Japan, I just looked at it and go, this is professional. I said, in order for me to be a professional, I need to dress like a professional. So you look at a press conference, I was in $1,000 Calvin Klein suit that I couldn't afford. And
that was the great big collar too. I was looking
By the way,
at
those clothes in the movie were great. Your workout gear were awesome, dude.
Heidi, the gal that recreated, she's phenomenal. She was phenomenal doing it. So in order for me to take this press conference dressed, and then interviews, talk like a professional, carry myself like a professional.
You were thinking about all this.
Oh yeah. You
were disciplined.
Because part of it is I was looking at like, how do I get paid like a professional?
Yeah.
Oh, I am, right? So if I become integral to the growth of this company because I'm professional, I carry myself that way, and pride grows with me, I can ask them to be paid like a professional because look, I'm helping you build something, right?
You're bringing value.
Yeah. And that whole thing, it's like, it took me reflection to understand it, but somewhere in me, that whole narrative was going.
Oh yeah.
That whole narrative was going, because it was one where it was like, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional. So the first big payday that I got with Pride, it was enough to where the next day, I got up and I go, I'm a professional, because I don't have to hustle and do this and hustle and do that. I have enough money in the bank to pay my bills. And so I'm a professional. This is what I do for a living. Somebody asked me, what do you do? I'm a professional fighter. I'm a mixed martial artist.
That's freaking awesome. That's freaking
Yeah.
The
awesome.
real question is,
Yeah.
and I know the answer, but how did you get the money from Japan back
Oh,
to the
man.
States?
That was one of those, John, where there's so this is pre 9/11, by the way. So
We had to tape stuff on around your legs?
This is what was crazy. So they paid me in cash.
Damn.
Okay. So the first time I get paid in cash over there, it's a couple $100,000, right? And I'm like all these stories in my head. I'm thinking Hollywood.
This is when you
like,
won the
man,
tournament
when he
the
got
first
across,
time?
when it got across through customs, he busted him.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm thinking these Hollywood scenarios in my
Yeah.
head where I'm like, okay. I had cowboy boots. I'm like in tube socks. I'm like, okay, I can fit 40,000 in one boot, right? With tube socks over 40,000 in the next boot. and then I had like stuffed in my waist. And then I figured I would just leave some in my bag just in case.
Sure.
You know? And so I walk across the border and, you know, through customs and stuff. No check, no, you have anything to declare? Nope, go. And then finally realizing, like, in order to build my life here in the States, I need income. Like, you can't go to a bank and go, I have a safety deposit box and it's got. So I declared money, and the first time I declared it, literally they go, "Oh, you declaring 175,000?" Okay, here. And in the declarations, just so they can report it to the IRS.
Right.
IRS.
It's not. They're not strip searching you to figure out where the money is. It's
Here
like
you were carrying it all on your person.
You're hiding it all.
This guy
I
looks
love
like
it.
the Hulk's
I
got
love
200
it.
grand on him. Cowboy
One
boots.
guy, because part of it is in my head. I'm figuring like all these Hollywood movies that I've seen my whole life, right? Going, oh man, here's where it all happens. You know, at customs. You know, it's like not even
love it.
close, man.
I got one question before we wrap, if that's okay
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
So there was one part in the movie where they showed you deciding to shave your head.
Yeah,
This is important.
yeah.
I knew this.
Yeah,
I knew
This
you'd
is
bring up.
important.
Yeah.
Predictable.
Why was that in the movie, first off, and what made you shave your head?
It was like this final like sacrifice.
Change?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a final like little sacrifice. Like me shaving my head now. I have a friend Jay Glazer, and Jay Glazer. Jay
Yeah,
Glazer.
he's got the look.
Oh yeah, he's got the look. And I was out in California. This is no kidding. And so I'm out in California visiting him, and I'm like supposed to catch a flight that morning, and he won't let me out of his house. He goes, dude, just stop it. We're just gonna cut to the chase. You're not Costanza. We're just gonna. We're gonna, and he's literally got clippers in his hand. He goes, "We need to get it down to," and I'm like, bro, no. And he's like, trust me.
Yeah.
And he's blocking the door.
Yeah.
He's literally blocking the door, and I'm like,
He's a big dude in his own
I'm
right.
like,
Yeah.
finally, I'm like, okay, dude, like, okay. We go out to his back thing, shaves it, gets done. I'm like, oh shit, it looks way better.
Yeah.
It's good luck. Yeah.
I still
Looks way
remember it.
better, man. You know.
Mark, we could
We could
Man.
sit here and talk all day because there's so
All-
many other things to talk about. We were
Absolutely.
talking about multifamily, the
Yeah,
implementation,
yeah.
wellness spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to have me back on where
Please,
where
we would love to have you.
it's because there's a whole area where I know that
We're gonna go deeper down the wellness path.
Yeah,
Let's
it
do
is,
that
because
again.
John, it's just one because it's one where I know this is, kind of off topic, but a little bit, but it's still relevant because at the end of the day, the movie and everything that's around it, it's about wellness. It really is. It's about
Totally.
wellness, redemption. It's
right.
about like part of like understanding like what I went through, the amount of shame that was involved in it that kept me prisoner. Because there's nobody I could talk to. The internet wasn't the internet. I didn't know. I couldn't just go these symptoms and what happens. And opiate addiction is just such a prevalent thing, and it's destroyed families and communities, and it's taken like I've lost countless friends from it. So I know that in that space, I know it's a lot deeper, and I'd love to be able to sit down because I know there's value in me even listening to what's going on with you because I know you're on the forefront of it, and I know it's important to you. To be able to explore that and have that and create that environment. So I know there's a lot of things in there that I'd love to be able to come back and talk about.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh man, we'll open arms,
Okay.
brother.
So,
Yeah.
so one thing in agreeing to do this, Mark said, "Well, I need to choke somebody out." So
Oh, no. Come on,
Adam,
man.
we'll just move this over.
No.
Adam's been sweating the whole day. Like, is this real?
You know what the best part is? I'm jumping into an interview right after. The best thing would be my head just completely
throbbing.
beat red, right?
No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I know you guys
Burst
would enjoy
capillaries
it.
in your
Yeah,
eyes.
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh,
It's probably
man.
one thing you don't miss.
No.
The hours after the fight. After a rough fight.
You know, I tell you, this is the two. I said this to my buddy the other day. I said, you know, the two loneliest places in the world is walking into that ring or walking into the octagon because there's nobody. It's just you.
It's just you.
And then afterward, like in the movie when they
in
show
3
Ryan,
inches of
when they
of
show
shorts.
yeah, exactly, my hot pants,
Hot
right?
pants.
They were
So,
awesome.
so when they they show Ryan in the movie sitting down in that moment,
Yeah.
it's actually it's
You're
a
alone.
lonely
It's like-
place, man.
The
It's
adrenaline dump is
You mean
all
after he
gone.
won?
Yeah.
And he was in the room by. Yeah, I got you.
Just sitting with a belt. I mean, but it's like, okay, now what?
I felt that
Oh,
when
believe
you.
me,
Yeah, like-
that's a long
gotta be a-
conversation.
it's gotta be a-
I felt that when you were in the elevator, the service elevator of
Yeah.
all places too,
Yep.
and you were just there by. Yeah, I see
it was
what
a great
you're
scene.
saying.
Yeah.
with the-
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Mark, man,
I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, this is like I said, all that other stuff is great, but you're my people, right?
This is a treat, man. Thank you
we
so
appreciate
much,
you.
and congratulations on all the successes. I mean, man, going back, you brought me back to some good times watching just the original UFC and
I appreciate
being an
that.
OG
Yeah.
and being Phoenix. That just,
I've been here 30 years,
dude, it's amazing,
awesome. 30
man.
years.
It's amazing.
great place.
This is my home.
Yeah.
man.
We're blessed.
This is my home.
We'll have to tell the story next time you come on about
Yeah.
the Fonz. You're running
my
with
God,
the Fonz.
I love it, man.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
that. But
For sure.
Mark, thank you again.
Oh no, my pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Yeah, it's
Anytime.
been a pleasure. It's been really
Before
awesome.
we close out quickly, because I know it's been a long episode, but it's well worth the long episode. Can we do what we're grateful for real quick?
Sure.
Go for it,
Dustin?
brother. DL. Fast.
Having been kind of a lifelong, I'll just recency bias and play here, but having been an MMA fan since I went to college in '97 in Southern Cal, and joining the first kind of commercial MMA gym there called Extreme U off of Oso Parkway in Mission Viejo. And this was back when like Chemo was
Wow.
carrying the cross in on his
Yeah.
back.
Oh
in
my
UFC.
God.
Oh, my.
And I'd gotten injured in baseball and I was looking for an outlet, and I was just a young, like 20-something kid. I fell in love with the sport, and that coincides right with your kind of prominence in the sport. So, and then having moved, on and kind of stuck with the sport. Now I have 4 boys.
Wow.
And they've been training jiu-jitsu since they were 5, and I've got my oldest are 12, and they've been state champions at different levels. And they, we just really love this idea of, what mixed martial arts can teach a boy as they're kind of,
Absolutely.
as a crucible for becoming a man.
Yep.
I don't know. Sometimes, and this must have been like you when you were in Venice, but you get these moments where you're like, how the hell did I end up here? And, to whom do I owe? It's such a neat thing to be able to talk to somebody like you, and also to work at a place like Mark Taylor and be on a podcast. I'm having one of those moments now, and I really appreciate that you would allow us the time to sit with you. I'm very grateful for that. That's really
gosh,
cool.
man, that's heartfelt. Thank you. Thank you, Dustin. That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just say that I really, when I was thinking about your movie yesterday, and it just backtracked me into your life and your history and all the things you've accomplished, and you're still going, and your willingness to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, really in the darkest of times, allow the world to see you in that space. I mean, most people would never do that. They would never be, we put our suit jackets on every day and do our hair, and it's such a different level of exposure that I really appreciate you for doing that, because I know you're helping people and have helped many over the past several years. So I hope for anyone watching the podcast today or sees your movie, go see it. It's amazing. But man, if you can help one person, it's worth it, right?
Yeah,
Just one person.
For sure.
Step
Johnny.
over that line.
For sure.
Huge. I saw a clip from when you were on Rogan, and it was when you were talking about your son seeing the movie for the first time and how DJ has your mannerisms, right?
Yeah.
I hone in a lot on legacy.
Yeah.
And legacy for me has a lot to do with family, but it has a lot to do with the character of the person that you are, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the individuals. I have a lot of them sitting in this room right now who I'm very grateful for as well, right? So when I saw you talk about your son, legacy.
Yeah.
Keep going, brother.
Beautiful.
Keep going, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, this has been, again, this process has just left all these little nuggets, right?
Fantastic.
All
isn't
these
it?
little, oh man, it's beyond gratifying. It's the sense of humility of just being in this place to be able to just share this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody's been so receptive to it and little parts of it and the whole idea behind it. If all this could just save one life, then my life has value.
Solid, brother.
That's it.
Solid.
Well said.
Thank
Come
you.
on, come on. Well, Multifamily Forward, if you haven't seen The Smashing Machine, you better get your butts out to the theaters. Talk about perseverance, about just winning at all costs as much as you can, life punching you in the gut, getting back up and moving forward.
Yep.
Congratulations. Mark, The Smashing Machine Kerr, thank you again,
No,
man.
I appreciate it. Thank you again, guys.